Everyone take a nice deep breath, please. And let's just be present in the space. It's a time of sacred space for higher well-being. So the focus for this sacred space time is going to be around your new anatomy's constitution and establishing and bringing forth a new template in an activation format. I'm going to be getting present to receive the activation wisdom in order to bring forth this new anatomy constitution. And so as I'm being present during this time, what I want to just share a little bit about is just the primary concept, so to speak, of what is known in traditional Chinese medicine as one's constitution. And so though we are going to be focusing on the new anatomy aspect, it's not actually really necessary to even really know about the traditional format of it, but I do just want to provide just a little bit of a context as it relates to the traditional Chinese medicine constitution. So there are a lot of different working definitions for the Constitution, but primarily it is related to what would be the susceptibility of the human body to disease or to just general well-being. A lot of times they say that your Constitution is established through genetics and that most don't have a lot of control over the foundation of their constitution, but more so go through life with a way to better manage that. But in the newer context of what will be happening in the new anatomy activation is a new template that comes forth from a more ascended dimension of your body, of your body's anatomy, I should say. So it's a different template. And it's more of a reset or a rebirth that gives you a fresh start at having this new constitution that is more customized according to what your new format will be in this more ascended new human experience. Take a nice deep breath, please. So again, whether you are familiar with the constitutions, which there are several, primarily 9 that are generally focused on, but within this context, as I mentioned, there's not really the need to put a lot of emphasis in terms of what that constitution is. But something I do want to bring up at this time is that if you are experiencing any type of health challenges or chronic health concerns, and maybe these have been long-standing, then what will happen is that this is a very gentle, non-disruptive way of the newer template that comes forth. And sometimes when you're having these extreme challenges in the body, it's a call not so much to cure it at the traditional level. It's a call for the new constitution template to come forth, the new ascended anatomy template to come forth. So let's just be present in the space a little bit more. And I want you to bring your focus to your breathing. So take about 9 deep breaths, please. Okay. So during this time, what is required for you is to be very settled in your mind, body, and spirit. Settled means accepting and embracing the present moment, being content with all that is, allowing yourself to feel a peace that surpasses all understanding. As we begin to take an exploration or journey, if you will, into your new anatomy. Now, most aren't familiar with the new ascended anatomy concept. Is actually a work that I've been pioneering for several years. That we have systems within systems, anatomy within anatomy. Different organ templates. One of the reasons why this is so important during this time is because as we are shifting into newer trajectories as it relates to our human experience in this earth plane, it calls forth for us to be in a new awareness of a new human experience and to bring forth a new anatomy that's going to be not just sustainable for the new experience, but one that continues to evolve in a very thriving aspect. This would be considered the epitome of optimum well-being. And as I mentioned before, that this isn't about trying to cure something at the surface level. It is bringing forth this newer trajectory of well-beingness that will then become the overtaking dominant template for one's higher well-being. And we're going to start with the activation of that during this time. Take a deep breath, please. And so with that being said, the systems within systems are desiring to communicate, to provide wisdom and knowledge, higher infinite intelligence of understanding to the current template that you have been working with since birth, this incarnation. And as these newer formats come forth, there are newer fundamentals, newer foundation, newer formation, and new functionalities to the way that this system operates. A brand new energy body, new organ templates, new central nervous system templates. It's one cohesive experience of being born anew in this physical format. Take a deep breath, please. So during this time, we're not going to focus so much on the current anatomy and even what your history or background is in terms of your health. We want to be present with this new awareness that there is another dimension and layer of your anatomy that desires to come forth. Now, as this activation is taking place, some of you will become aware of your present, current anatomy and things that need to be shifted. And sometimes there will be the wisdom and insight that comes forth of how you need to best take care of yourself, best support yourself, During this transition, this will be an ongoing transition until that newer anatomy trajectory is the overtaking, dominating system that is in place. So let's take a deep belly breath, please. And we're going to focus on the new constitution of this new ascended anatomy. So give me a moment just to continue to be present with the activation wisdom. Just a disclaimer, this is not channeled information. This is just being present with the ultimate truth trajectory for one's highest well-beingness. This is a time of just opening up the awareness and expanding the awareness for new levels of comprehension as it relates to this newer format. And each person will be receiving their own unique information. So on the note of one's own unique information, this is about your individuality for optimum well-beingness. And I call forth right now the new Ascended Anatomy template for a first phase of activation. That all the major organs become awakened and aware and prepare for the activation and the adjustment of allowing this new template to come forth. This is a newer inner trajectory that is establishing itself and anchoring Take a deep breath, please. So I want you to just feel into the space. Some of you during this time may start to feel very energized, but at the same time, relaxed. Some of you potentially could have a wave of peace that comes over you. That the body knows that something magnificent and miraculous is taking place during this time. This is the true connection to the higher source energy body. Every cell of you pulsating as source. You can call it your true divine nature in anatomy format. And so during this time, as all major organs and systems are preparing for this extraction, if you will, to come forth like a diamond, yet without the pressure. For some of you during this time, a specific system or a specific organ may come to mind. And if so, I want you to be extremely present with that and breathe into that awareness 7 times, please. And when you're done breathing, be present with the communication, the wisdom and insights that want to come forth. And you can ask for that. You can ask that specific system or that specific organ, or maybe a pair of organs or so. What do you most need to know during this time about your new ascendant anatomy constitution? Take a deep breath, please. To provide a little more context of triggers and prompts here, so that you can also ask specifics in terms of how you should support yourself during this time. How do you eat for your new constitution? And if there's anything that you need to know in terms of even the current constitution template that is in place, that type of blueprint, what will also best support that part of you as this newer progression is taking place? They both are working simultaneously together, because it's your present constitution that has summoned the new constitution to come forth in this more ascended divine anatomy format. And though, as I mentioned, we're not focusing in terms of the present of the current constitution that you've been working with, but the reason why this wisdom comes forth is because it is a partnership and an agreement in terms of what needs to be the more dominant template to come in place. So this probably will sound a little bit strange, but it's as if the current anatomy that you've been working with, constitution, is sort of, if we want to say, is retiring in a sense. It's not fully expiring. It just knows that it has been of the highest service that it can be to you, and that the next level is requiring this new dimension to come forth, because you are still here to carry out a higher purpose and mission. In the standard traditional anatomy format is that when a constitution, if you will, or a framework of your anatomy is ready to retire, it typically means expiring. And we know what that means in the traditional sense. But that's not true for those of you drawn to this. You're meant to be these higher expressions of optimum well-beingness. Some of you will discover your unique callings during this time to the higher lifestyle frameworks, and that potentially could mean some of you are being called to be wellness advocates, healers, and lifestyle management consultants. Could be a variety of paths that you could be called to, or just to be a dynamic example to those around you and inspire them into their own well-beingness from optimum vantage point. Take a deep breath, please. So we're going to be present even more. And if there is another system or systems or organ or organs that want to communicate, or you can ask a specific functionality of an organ or cell or system. What you most need to know. So let's be present with that. And some of you, what's coming to mind even right now is that I was mentioning about different paths that you could potentially take, and Chinese medicine would be one of those. And so you can be present with this new constitution to even ask questions about how Chinese medicine can best support you during this time. Take a deep breath, please. And as you're becoming more aware of this new information, now we're going to be present with the overall new anatomy in the ascended format and your new constitution template. And as we're present with that, it could start to fill in much like a grid of information in a very customized way for you for this first phase of this experience. So let's be present with the new constitution, your new constitution in this new ascended anatomy format. What is the communication there? What are you hearing and getting a sense of as it relates to your new information for optimum well-beingness? How are your systems and organs functioning in this new template? How are you feeling? Are you more vibrant, more connected, more aware? Feeling your greater potential come to surface? Feeling very hydrated from a cellular level? Getting a sense of clarity, feeling more clear? Feeling rejuvenated? Feeling the support of your entire anatomy? Do some of your organs feel like they're singing, that they're excited? Do you feel whole? Do you get a sense of that coming forth during this time? Take a deep breath, please. So how is your new constitution template filling in? What's coming to surface in your awareness? And some of you may be being told that you're completely healed of certain ailments, certain chronic illnesses, different diseases. You can feel the suspension and separation of the old and feel the emergence of the new that's pushing through, but in a very subtle way, very gentle way, and getting you more excited about this new life, this new aliveness that's taking place from this new structure, new format, new DNA in cells, a complete reengineering, in a sense, of just your overall expression of livelihood. Just feeling yourself be anew, feeling reborn. But what's actually happening is just another part of you is coming forth. That's been this unexplored territory, just unknown to the human awareness. You know, as we learn in several studies how the human potential is at a minimum of being reached, that even within the brain, we're only operating off of 5 to 10%. So even if we were to think of that on a percentage of 100, 1 to 100, so to speak, if we're only operating between 5 and 10%, even a genius, so to speak, only operating at that level, look at all of that left, all that's left out. That's a huge percentage of unexplored potential. And this is where, when we get into the systems within systems, the anatomy within anatomies, that is part of going beyond that 10%. We're talking about operating in a fuller context of our divine nature, the awakening of the true source template coming forth for one's ultimate truth. That should be the ultimate premise, the basis, the foundations for new fundamentals to come forth, so that you understand what your new formation is during this time and your new functionalities, and really what is a new human experience. And you can say in a new earth plane. And so at this time, we're going to be present with the evolution of all things for this higher trajectory experience. This even takes on the new formats and the new dimensions of even modalities, paradigms, and also, you know, different concepts that we subscribe to. Even the way medicine is, even with Chinese medicine, the holistic framework, this takes on a very new dimension. And so every time you're present with this new anatomy, though there are traditional fundamentals and premises, you have to be present with what are the new fundamentals for you at this time. What is the evolution of the concepts that you've known about? Because in an evolutionary body, in an evolutionary constitution that's ascended, the rules of engagement and some of the premises are very different, because the energy can rearrange itself at different times to have a unique meaning for you. You're awakening the physician and the doctor from within. Your source communication that's coming forth to provide you with that higher level of wisdom and understanding. So at this time, in a newer context, a more expanded context of sound therapy, I want you to be present with the sound of my voice and feel into this new template, this new constitution, because during this time, it wants to provide you with a more expanded awareness for a next level of comprehension, to provide you with everything that you need during this time to begin to solidify this first phase of a foundation so that we can bring this into an activation. So be present. Hear the wisdom. Be in the space of this newness of the Constitution as it fills in a very customized format for you. And during this time, some of you may get a sense of smells. Certain songs may come into your mind. You may feel yourself start to sway, have some movement or so. This is cultivating and bringing forth momentum in terms of your new life rhythm, as if you would be hearing and sensing your constitution, your new constitution in this ascended anatomy format, communicate to you as if it were a melody, feeling yourself be harmonized, the symphony of you. So what are the notes that are playing of this new constitution? What is the melody? What are some of the lyrics? What do you imagine the first verse, second verse, bridge, and chorus? What is a core theme of your new constitution? So continue to be present with my voice as your major organs begin to evolve, and this newer template is coming forth in a very subtle yet gentle way. Take a deep breath, please. And be present with your anatomy as if it were humming. And just thinking about that just puts such a big smile on my face. To just know that these higher levels of well-beingness are coming forth, and that you are going beyond that 10% into this grander frontier of you. And what better way to embark on this new level of understanding than to allow your health, which is your wealth, to be the tour guide to help you to navigate this higher journey of ascension within you. Take a deep breath, please. And just thinking about that allows you to understand your spiritual and soul connection even more. Because there are plenty of people who are very spiritually inclined and connected, so to speak, but very disconnected in terms of the well-beingness for taking care of this temple. And so as old foundations have been crumbling and newer formats are coming more into focus, feel the build of going beyond, beyond, and beyond, and beyond, and meaning that the awareness that you have during this time will keep expanding. You'll keep discovering newer dimensions and context of who you are through this process. Being one with your body in this way, and being excited that this is a fresh new start, that you don't have to come from the premises and the bases that you were coming from or felt were assigned to you in what was hand-me-down energy, in a sense, things given to you based on history of genetics and ancestors, that you get to have your own unique constitution now that will continue to evolve and expand. Take a deep breath, please. And so during this time, I want you to be present and bring to mind all of that which your new ascended anatomy for your new constitution has communicated. And just this entire experience, let's be present with it. And you can ask for any final wisdom or insights to come forth as you continue to welcome in this newer context of your beingness, because all of what comes forth is what we are going to anchor and activate. So take 3 nice deep breaths, please. And so during this time, I call forth the activation of the customized, cohesive wisdom for this new constitution, for the new ascended anatomy template. And we activate that wisdom, those insights, the uniqueness of the individuality, the higher divine nature and context, the truer expression of this more optimum essence. And we anchor this activation for this phase to continue to open up more of the ascended awareness around this newer template and continue exploration. Take a deep breath, please. And just keep breathing normally and being aware. Don't you feel yourself awakened and anew? So now let's allow this to be settling as a new adaptation. You'll be making new adjustments to this understanding and awareness. And you'll be inspired to the right actions, preparation and planning for this experience, and execution as well. Your implementation will be very intuitive and on point. Your new constitution will continue to reveal to you that which is going to ultimately lead you to the higher understanding for higher optimum living and well-being. Take a deep breath, please. And we just welcome in the new constitution of you. This is a new beginning, a new story for you, and just a new way of being in this divine human format. Take a deep breath, please. And we are complete. Thank you.